Hello everyone, so before I start my presentation, I would like to say Pandalumat from Swastiastu. And I would like to let you know about my master lecturer, which is Dr. Silo Numan Saryadi SPD SRJ MPA. And it's a little bit about my profile. My name is Dewa Istri Aricksuy. My NIM is 21111711073. I am from class PBIC 2. So this is my final exam, education of education foundation. So this is what we will learn. Number 1, the definition of non-formal education. Number 2, the non-formal education purpose. Number 3, the characteristic of non-formal education. Number 4, types and contents of non-formal education. And number 5, non-formal education goals. Number 6, non-formal education units. And number 7, the role of non-formal education. Life itself is your teacher, and you will constantly learn. The meaning of non-formal education. So non-formal education is organized outside of the formal system, which means the formal system as we know as like usual schools start from elementary school, junior high school, and senior high school. So non-formal education was organized or held outside of the formal system. And then number 2, opportunity to achieve information, practice, or guidance in the daily environment. So with education or non-formal education, we had a lot of opportunity to achieve more information that we usually get from the formal system. So besides we doing the formal system, we also can doing the non-formal system, and then we will get more information and practice in a daily basis. So multi-purpose is one of the advantage of non-formal education. So basic education knowledge learned by each individual in the early days of life also refers to non-formal education. So what is the example? So number 1 is the value of life. So the students or the learner is learn about the value of life, more about skills, and more about language and ways of communicating, social attitude in family relationship. So this is what the learner will learn with the basic education. So the next is further educational. One of non-formal education purpose is provide an overview of things that are like and can be learned from a sense of interest, motivate yourself, and increase the self-confidence of individual. So the further educational system from the education and non-formal education. Here is like more to like musicals, extras that you have, or like you're doing something in out of basic your schools, like kind of sports if you have the hobbies like what we see in here. So you have so the learner have a sense of interest, which is if they have the interest, then they will like it and learning more, which is some of the interest of the learner is not teach, or it's not happening in the basic educational. So this is the chance of the learner to get the further education of what they like and like exploring their hobbies exploring something that probably not as easy as the in the basic education. So what is the examples? You can see the examples over there. So there's a hobby and some values to religion, and then environmental observation. The characteristics of non-formal education. So characteristic of non-formal education is over here. So the first one is to acquire skills that will soon be used. So learner, actually individual learner was kind of like make sure that they have the skills that they will use very soon. So example for the senior high schoolers, like they know that after the senior high school they'll get to the college, and before that they want to kind of like make sure their skills was there. So example, one of the senior high schools was doing their kind of like English lessons outside of the basics and basics education. So they get kind of like more used to use English before they jump into the college. And number two, the characteristic of non-formal education is learner centered. So here, the learner as actually in the basic education, the learner cannot say like they want to have this class more longer, or this class not really like it and they want to short that class. So that cannot be possible in like basic education and general education. So here in non-formal education you can choose, like the learner can choose what they want to do. The learner can choose what is the interest, and then the learners also can choose what is some things that really comes into their kind of economic or time. So this is what it means by learner centered. And then number three, the implementation time is relatively short and generally not continuous. So this is what it means. Usually, basic education start from elementary school, and then junior high school, and then senior high school. The example is if there is one learner that can't go or can't jump up into the next stage of study, like there is something or some problems in their families, or a lot of reasons over there, and then they stop probably in elementary school, and then if they want to continue and get their certificate of junior high school, non-formal education can do it. So the example there in Indonesia we call is packet B, packet J, or packet A, kind of like that. So packet A is actually same as elementary school. Packet B is same as junior high school, and then packet C is same as senior high school. So this is how it works with the implementation time. So in general, elementary school takes 6 years to finish their study, but in the for non-formal education, it's actually depend on the learner and also depends on the organization that do it the for non-formal education. For example, like the packet A, which is it's usually takes like 6 months to 1 year, that which is it's shorter than the original elementary, like the formal education, which is takes 6 years. And then number four, the curriculum is flexible and can be discussed openly, much determined by students. So as I explained before about the packet B or packet C, here the learner also like the hobbies kind of like session, they can kind of like asking the teacher or the mentor and discuss it openly, like which part of it that they haven't understand very much yet, or they want to be like focused on one thing. So this is what they mean as the curriculum is flexible. And then number 5, using participatory learning method with an emphasis of self-learning. So non-formal education, it's not stuck on the rules like the formal education. So here, like um, another classes like outside of the general class, like when you doing kind of like English or mathematics or Japanese extras outside of the usual class. Usually the mentors giving a method that which is the learner used to should be participate, and then like they need to be learning by themselves, and or sometimes like they need to be like make sure that they know, so they're searching some things. This is what also this is also connect to the some things that the students or the learner like. So when the learners like some things, like some things that really they really interest in, they will get the motivate to doing it by themselves and learning or searching information by themselves. And then number 6, the relation between educators and learners is informal and familiar. Educators as facilitators, as not as instructors. So what this is means, like I said, the examples before, someone's that doing the packet B. So in Indonesia, a lot of people that not finish their like 9 years study. So sometimes, like one of the examples, one children stop their study at 6th grade, and then they kind of like looking for a work or job to do. So and then after a few years, and he want to continue his studies. So it has a gap between actual years to go to the formal education, and then and he has like few gaps years for that. So the mentors or the educator is actually like the same age of him or of her. So this is makes how it's not formal, like like the age, and then also because it's not and government facilitates. So it makes the educators and the learners as kind of like more familiar, more like a friends, and then it's not really strict. And next, types and content of non-formal education. Non-formal education by definition. Number 1, literacy education. What this means, which is in Indonesia, we have kind of like some things we call wajib baca, which is you need to know how to read. But few or a lot of people out there that they not even studying in the formal school, and they don't know what is alphabet and how to read. So non-formal education function is to doing this, like it's to teach the persons how to read, how to kind of like doing literacy education. And then number 2 is vocational education. As we know that we not only a senior high school, we have also vocational high school, which is it kinds comes to your what is your job, what is your kind of like what is your next job, what is uh, your what do you want to be, kind of. So there, before you finish your vocational high school, in vocational high school we learn about what kind of things that you want to do after the school, like example a cooks or F&B department, or um, kind of like front officer. So there we learn more about that. And then general education and counseling. Also education activities related to physical health. So general education and counseling here means like once you have some things that you really want to, but you're not capable to make it by yourself, you can go to one or two government groups of non-formal education, and you can learn there and doing counseling, and they will help you. And then number four, the educational activities related to physical health. It's kind of like non-formal ways if you want to being kind of like athlete. We have Indonesia actually have kind of like some non-formal education for this. And the next is non-formal education participant. Number one, ministry goals. Number two, bicultural informant. Number three, based on the teaching system. So here the point is each of the place or kind of like cities or environment has kind of like different point of view, different system that they believe. So here the non-formal education is being flexible too. So example in Bali, in Gianyar maybe, there is a lot of rice terrace there or kind of like farming. So non-formal education in here in Gianyar cities, it more like to the farming types of, and then in Denpasar like more to technical or technologies kind of like the surface objectives. Preschool, which is age 0 to 6 years, primary education age 7 to 12 years, and then secondary age from 13 to 18 years, and then higher education age 19 to 24 years. So in every stage of the formal schools or the formal classes held, you have also the non-formal uh, classes. Socio-cultural environment. Number one, rural communities. Number two, urban society. And number three, remote communities. Non-formal education has a very broad target and large variability. The target audience that wants or should be served non-formal education is stretched out along the need for human beings to learn. Non-formal education units. So in 2003, concerning to the national education system, the name of Directorate of the School SEPA was changed into the Directorate of PNFP, Non-Formal and Youth Education. So the first one is course institute, like I said, like some things that the learners really like for the course, like English course, mathematics course, cooking course. Number two is training institute, like vocational schools, like they train you to be some things that you really want, maybe training to be a tailor, training to be cooks, training to be kind of like teachers. So there's a training there. And then number three is study group. So study group here means like the non-formal education. It's not only from government or from kind of like units, but it's also came from like environment study group, like in one village, and then the head of village make kind of like study group and studying about their culture, or maybe studying about how to farm, how to knit, how to uh, cooks kind of. So the people who live in that village like learn more. So this is also kind of non-formal education. And then number four, community learning activity centers. So community learning here is more to helping someone's disabilities. So non-formal education units also have the things to do in community learnings for the disabilities person, or maybe someone who has no families, like kind of like that. And then number five, religion class. For example, Sunday schools, majelis ta'lim, paslaman, like class that made by people that have religions of kind of like Christianese or Islamic or Hindus. So each of that religion, they make kind of like their own class to make the learners know better about their religion. And then number six, the similar education unit, for example, like sporting, martial arts, workshop, art studio, workshops, or theaters, also included to non-formal education units. The role of non-formal education. Number one, as a complement to school education. So here, as we saying some things before, like as I explained before, so the learners can join normal education, like formal education, while they're doing the non-formal education, as they're taking some course instead only formal education in their school. And then number two, as an enhancer of school education. So not only for their interest, but some of the learner also learning in non-formal education to make sure that they have the knowledge of something that they learn, or maybe some teachers in their formal educational that explaining something that they then didn't really understand, so they take some course and make sure that they know about what kind of material that they learn. And then number three, substitutes for a school education. As I said before, when someone's kind of like can't continue their stage of studies, they want, and then they need to be working or having a job, or maybe they have difficulties, and then in one day they want to having the educational as per junior high school or senior high schools, or any kind of stage that they didn't have, so they can join the non-formal education as a substitute for the school education. So here is a disadvantage and advantage of non-formal education. So here, number one, all activities of the schedules activities are adapt to economic capability of community. So as I said before, non-formal education has a lot of community, like religion community, villagers community. So it also depends into the economic capabilities of someone. Like they can choose what kind of unit that they want to join, and then the schedules that follows the majority is generally the participants. So if the participants like a lot, like 50% or 75% of the participants like don't want to do it in Sundays, or maybe they have some things in holidays, so it's also all of that schedules is depends to the majority of participants. It's not like normal education, which is we need to following the rules, which is we need to comes from Monday to Friday at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. kind of. So this is what it means by the schedules is depends on the majority participant. And number three, add friends and relationship in the future. So by doing this non-formal education as a course or as something that you are interested in, you have the relation with someone that have the same interest with you. So that's mean like one day if you are finish your schools or formal education, you have someone to says or someone to asking some things or kind of like a job facility or kind of like that. So when you are having the course, you find someone that have the same interest with you. Yeah, like you have the relationship with him or her, and then when you finish and when you're ready to start your career, maybe one of your friends will help you about their career or maybe like job opportunity. And then deficiency is number one, The lack of material synchronization and adjustment, because each non-formal institution has different but similar methods. And then number two, unadvantageous staff or educator. So this is the advantage disadvantages, which is the educator of the or the staff of the non-formal education is not really maximum yet. Like, we need more of the staff and then more experience there, and then maybe like some things that uh, make sure that the teachings is know how to provide the materials, as we know that the materials or the classes of non-formal is quite short. So this is the capability of the teacher or the mentor, that they should know how to deliver the material, so the learners is more understand. And then number three, lack of maximum application in the field. Number four, the status of non-formal graduate is considered lower than of formal graduates. Like I said before, when someone's doing the non-formal education as a substitute of formal education, maybe some of the companies that open the job requirement or job opportunity, like seeing them was not really capable, because they have skipped their time to learn. That's one of the reasons. And then I provide some pictures of examples diplomas from non-formal education. So there you can see something's different in the diplomas from non-formal, which is there's shows Satuan Pendidikan Pendengaran, which is with what kind of educational class is that, and then which stage is that. This is from, so from this that everyone can see that you are not from formal. This is make it difference from the formal and non-formal. So that's all about my presentation for today. I hope all of you will understand. So before I close this presentation, I would like to saying one more time about the non-formal education, which is first we start with long life education, which is when we born, and then we got the education from our parents, and then go to the formal schools, and then after while we're doing the formal school, we can do the non-formal schools or non-formal education, or if we can't continue our formal education, we can also doing the non-formal education. So start with informal education, formal education, non-formal education. Everything actually has the meanings and has the advantage and disadvantage. It is how to make sure that the learners know the experience and also the materials of some things that they study, and then it helps them to continue their life. So that's all from me for today. Before I close this meeting, I want to close this with Paramasanti. Thank you.